Rita, would you like to say a little bit about the workshop that you're envisaging?
Sure. So the question, and I think there were some questions in the chat about this as well, was so how do you architect this, right? Because it's I mean, conventional management, right? You tell people what to do, they do it. If they don't do it, you punish them. And, that's sort of the model. And instead, what we're switching towards is a model where you create the context, you agree together on what a good outcome looks like. And then teams are released, freed almost to go pursue that. So how do you make that transition? And that we're going to be exploring in the workshop. I'd like to bring in some people that have successfully done it. And we'll talk about some of the building blocks that are necessary. Now, there is some investment required because you have to have one version of the truth. I mean, my good friend Tiffany Bova, who's the chief sales evangelist at Salesforce, will tell you that the typical large multinational, so a multi-billion-dollar company, will have 700 pieces of software installed somewhere in their system, and only something like 23% of them are integrated. So if you think about the work experience, the employee experience, which we know is very tightly linked to the customer experience, just to get a function done. I mean, I was at a bank the other day doing something that was just slightly non-routine. And this guy who was helping me was wonderful, but he had to go to one system to get a piece of information. He had to go to another system to get something published. He literally had to send a fax to get a third. I mean, it was like 15 things he had to deal with just to respond to one requirement that I had. And so I think when you think about leaders, one of the things they really need to start thinking through is think all that digital stacking stuff all the way through to the level of the employee experience. What's it like at that, coal face we like to talk about, right at the edges of the organization? And very few companies have paid that much attention to it. And what Tiffany will tell you, and she has a great new book coming out too, what she'll tell you is that nobody owns it, right? HR owns all the kind of HR stuff. IT owns the kind of corporate systems, but my poor guy at the bank, right? Who owns his day? And it's nobody.